Another one I had, and this was always like, my butt cheeks would always like pucker a little before I'd like post this on social media, right? Because people are very passionate about intuitively eating and that whole
Mm.
sector. If we even want to just say like not tracking your food versus tracking your food, which obviously, again, it's like we understand that tracking your food's not for everybody. There's a time, a place, or whatever. For me personally, it's brought me a lot of freedom. Uh, but, it's like that whole idea of like, hey, listen, if you don't want to track your food, and whether you want to call it intuitive eating or whether you want to call it just eating, if we ain't weighing and measuring, if we ain't keeping track of what we eating, we have to be okay with whatever body happens as a result of that way we're showing up, right? So it's like we can't be upset if we're not tracking our food, we're not weighing, we're not measuring, and then also turning around and being like, well, I'm gaining weight and all of this stuff. It's like kind of back to what you were saying earlier. It's like we are the result of the choices that we make. And certainly sometimes, things are out of our control, or, things do negatively change, whether that's, thyroid or hormones or stuff like that. But I think that's just such a big one, is it's like you'll see people, again, back to the black and white, it'll be like, well, I was tracking my food. I was getting really OCD or really obsessive with it. So now I'm not tracking my food, but now I'm gaining weight and now I'm uncomfortable in my body. And so it's this like weird, messy road where it's like, okay, how do we meet somewhere in the middle of like,
I mean, that's what we're talking
again,
about. Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
fine, we don't want to track. That's totally fine. But how can we go back to the habits that maybe we were still doing when we were tracking? So how can we make sure we're prioritizing a big source of protein at every single meal, and maybe multiple, like multiple times, right? Like 3 to 4 times a day, big high protein, big energy protein snacks, right? How can we make sure that we're getting well-rounded meals that have, a source of fat, a source of carbohydrate? We're getting fruits and veggies regularly through the day. It's like, how do we still come back to those basics and those big rocks, but we're still being mindful? Because again, it's like we see that all the time in the Paragon Facebook group where it'll be like, I'm eating healthy. And you're like, well, what does healthy mean? And I know
What does that mean?
I
Yeah.
know I still need to make my post about the poke bowl. I think I actually said this on the last one too. But we actually did have a poke bowl PR. So for those that haven't been tuned in regularly, there is a really awesome poke shop, which shall not be named, that we always get we get the hookup from these people. Like we get so much protein. And so theoretically, if you get the large bowl, it would be 2 ounces of fish. You get 5 scoops. So it should be like 10, 11 ounces. Charlie got 19.3 last week. Double,
It's a lot of
literally,
it's a lot of fish,
literally
man.
double the size, right? And so it's that hard, dicey medium of it's like, well, yeah, poke's really healthy. Like it's literally like, again, like fatty fish. We've got like the bowls we get will literally be like vegetables, rice, seaweed salad,
Yeah.
cucumbers, lettuce, this whole thing. And so it's like, it is such a well-rounded, it's got all the sauce, right? But at the end of the day, if you're eating 10 ounces, thinking
Yeah.
you're eating 20 ounces, like, holy shit, that man, right? So it's like, that is one of my favorite games is if I get food to go, or even if I go to Whole Foods Sushi actually used to do this too. I would get the sashimi from Whole Foods and the package would be like, oh yeah, there's like 4 ounces. And then it wouldn't be like this poke bowl situation, but every week it would be like 5 ounces, 5.4. And so all those little things add up. And so it creates this really frustrating scenario where people are, doing all the right things on paper, but because we're still not tracking that quantity, that's where it's a slippery slope off
Yeah.
into the sunset of, oh, well, maybe we are in a surplus, or maybe we're just eating at maintenance when we think we're in a deficit. So, again, it's like, how do we find the happy medium of all of that? And it's tough, man. It's freaking tough.
Yeah. I think that was something too that because I definitely started from a very like food quality, like eat healthy foods. Like doesn't matter the quantity as long as you eat healthy. And I mean, that was completely wrong because, I was sitting there trying to like cut weight, and I didn't understand that like, I was eating like 2 or 3 avocados a day or something like that. And then not understanding why I wasn't losing any weight. And yeah, not realizing that like, I was like, oh, I thought, avocados are healthy. I don't need to worry about that. It's like, yeah, but there's still like 200 something calories in each avocado, depending on how big the avocado is.
Bulletproof
So
coffee and bacon. That's all you need, baby.
bulletproof coffee, bacon.